Hey, it's Mike from Music Radar. We're at NAMM 2019. I'm backstage at Gibson with new CEO and saviour of Gibson, James JC Curleigh. James, I mean, this was kind of, or JC I should call you, this is kind of one of the first orders of business for Gibson, right? Coming back to NAMM as soon as you took over.
Yeah, I mean, a couple months ago I took over, and the first question the team asked me was, hey JC, do you think we could go back to NAMM? And I'm like, and I kind of paused and I said, well, do you think we'll be ready? And no one said yes, but no one said no. It was kind of a positively awkward moment. I said, I'll tell you what, in 10 days, if you can prove we can get ready with our guitars and really prove we can make, bring compelling and relevant new guitars, and we can set up a situation where we can actually really make it easier to do business with Gibson, then I'm in. And I got to tell you, within 3 days they came back and said, here's our ideas, here's what we've got, here's how we can be ready, and we declared the road to NAMM was our obsession, and here we are 3 months later, and I got to tell you, I couldn't be more proud of the team. I mean, the new product's amazing. We've delivered that classic range back to what everyone said they wanted, true historic specs, 50s, 60s. We stripped down the contemporary range and only put in some of the modern innovation that guitarists wanted, and we even brought some new stuff on the acoustic side with the new G45. Yeah. So it's been amazing, and I couldn't be more proud of the team.
Nice. I mean, if you had a kind of mission statement for what you want to achieve with Gibson at this stage, what would it be?
Well, I mean, when you think about Gibson, the story is our mission. I mean, we've been synonymous with creating, shaping, and quite frankly, owning sound for every generation, every genre, every gender for 125 years. And so for us, it's the mission is really how do we continue to shape and create and deliver and quite frankly own the share of sound going forward. And then when you step back, you say, okay, so the vision for Gibson should be we want to be the most relevant, we want to be the most played, and we want to be the most loved guitar brand and music instrument company. And so we're on that mission, and the vision is clear. And when your starting point is one of the most iconic brands, let alone in music, it's a pretty good starting point.
I mean, coming in, what was your view on kind of what went wrong with Gibson?
I think it's the tale's been told across a number of industries and businesses and brands, and it's tough out there. It's not easy, and so I can't judge the past. What I can say is it seemed like sometimes leadership is taken for granted, and sometimes when that happens, you end up putting your company on an obstacle course. Unknowingly or knowingly through the decisions you make, and we went through one heck of an obstacle course, but I got to tell you, we've now come out of it with new ownership and with the new team and new energy, and some of the team that stuck with the obstacle course. We're putting the band back together, and we're going to pivot that obstacle course into an opportunity course, and we really feel good about it. And it's one of those dynamics that once we started showing people what we were doing, someone asked me, well, JC, what surprised you the most? It's the love that people have of Gibson and artists and dealers and musicians, and I've even heard from some of our amazing competitors like JC, a strong Gibson is a strong guitar industry. So, little weight on the shoulders, but we're up for it.
Yeah. Did Henry Juskovic give you any sort of advice when he handed over?
I'll be very honest. I have not met Henry yet, and you know what? It's not we will meet at some stage, but I've unapologetically been very focused on the team, on product, on getting back to what Gibson deserves to be. And Henry, you got to give him credit for some of the legacy that he delivered against, and he kept that Gibson brand in the highest of aspiration. So I take that and then find ways to move it forward.
I mean, in terms of specs and things, obviously one of the big controversies was kind of the introduction of the mini tune, like robot tuning and stuff like that. Yeah. Is that going to come back at any point, do you think?
Well, I think we'll say that the robot is probably best left to a dance, and we'll leave it at that. But what I will say is, sometimes when you're pushing the envelope of innovation, you need to push it. And one of the first questions I got asked from one of the guitar aficionados was, "Hey JC, man, don't go changing, go back to what made you famous." And then he goes, "But what's new?" So I think we have an obligation and an opportunity to continue to push some envelopes, but don't do it in a novel way. Like, don't create novelty or gadgets. Bring solutions that guitarists are looking for, and work with them, and work with the artists, the famous and not so famous, to bring something and evolve the sound or the shape or the playability to that artist's needs and what they're doing. So I think what you can expect from Gibson in the future is a much more collaborative approach. We'll try some things. Maybe not everything works, but we're not going to go full scale on everything. We're going to try things with artists. We're going to work with it, and if we think we're onto something, we'll do it a little more and a little more. but it's a little bit of back to the future at Gibson.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, another complaint that was kind of leveled at Gibson was about quality control.
Yeah.
What are your comments on that, and is there anything you're going to do to try and improve what some people
and again, not judging the past, but I can tell you straight up, I've been in every one of our factories multiple times, and they just lack the modern day investment required to keep up. And as great as our luthiers are and our teams in the factories, we did not set the best conditions for success. Having said that, we've always maintained a high quality standard, and sometimes perception is reality, but we're going to change that. So we've got a new chief production officer. How's that for a fancy title? But he's come in and he's very quickly understood modern day manufacturing dynamics. We declared things like war on dust, so we're looking at really understanding the impact that can have on the finishing of a guitar. We've installed new lighting so we can really see things. We've sequentially lined up some of our factories where each individual, when they pass the guitar down, now they're responsible to say, I approve of this, and I'm passing it to my colleague to approve it. So you don't wait till the end of the line to see what happens. And I think you'll find with these very specific actions, our attention to quality, which has always been there, we're just going to put it at a whole nother level. And let's face it, Gibson not only deserves that quality level, but we need to have that. So I'm very confident that in the next few months, as we work through this, people are going to just see a whole nother level of quality from Gibson, and we're excited about that.
That is really exciting to hear, actually.
Yeah.
And are the instruments all going to still be made in the USA? Are there any plans to go offshore with Gibson brands?
I mean, we're very fortunate. We have a portfolio of brands. We have the amazing Gibson brand made in the USA. We actually just launched the G45, the Generation Series from Bozeman, Montana, where we make our acoustics. So we're made in the USA. Gibson, that's where we are. And but we have an amazing Epiphone brand. I mean, it's just unbelievable. That story's yet to be told. And I have this poster of the last concert at Candlestick and the Beatles, and they're coming off, and they all got guitars in the air, and they're all Epiphones. So we're going to tell that story. And of course, we've got Kramer, which at one time they get Eddie Van Halen. We've got Steinberger, and so we're really interested in that portfolio. And it's amazing. We're showing some of it just behind this wall, and fans, you can see them gravitating. We have something for every fan.
I mean, in 2019, what can we sort of expect from Gibson? Obviously, you've launched a great revival of kind of classic shapes and colours and things, but will we see new shapes emerging?
Yeah, I think the first thing was really just build a new foundation for Gibson, and really building it on the classics, as I mentioned, on what is our contemporary range, understanding what the Signature Series can do, what our custom shop could do. We did introduce some new product, and what we did here was we took a bold step, and we've introduced all that product, but we're going to roll it out over the course of the next few months and over the course of this year. So what I think people can expect is just ongoing new rollouts from Gibson, as opposed to the big drum roll reveal of a model year. So we're going to move off that, and we're going to move into a core range, and then bring really interesting ideas and guitars to the market when we think we're ready. We're going to try things, but we're confident that new sequence is going to be better for everyone.
That sounds great. And lastly, what's your favourite model from the new range?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I was just doing an interview earlier, and I actually have the actual guitar that was played at Stars Born, and it's the J45 vintage guitar. I have it right over there, and I was just playing it, and I got to tell you, there's something about, and put aside the Star is Born and the movie it was in, but there's just something about, for me, I'm an acoustic guy, the J45, it's that vintage one with the white pickup, and you just pick it up and you go, man, if this guitar could tell stories, there's a lot of stories out of that J45, so that's my personal favorite.
Absolutely, and we can't wait to see what stories are next from Gibson.
Awesome, man.
Thank you very much.
Good, man, and I always say, like, and I've said this many times, but in the words of the Beatles and Joe Cocker, we're going to get by with a little help from our friends, so we need a little support from everybody. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
This is Mike from Music Radar signing off at NAMM 2019. Cheers.